Hello everyone, Republic Jim here. I wanted to talk today about the knives that I have, and just to make shorter videos and speed it up a bit as much as I can, I'm going to divide it up between the folders and the fixed blades. But first off, as the title indicates, I am not a knife guy. I'm not somebody that has a large collection. I don't need to get the most expensive and fancy knives. I'm the type of guy that just wants something that's functional. I tend to find what I want for a specific task, something that's affordable but still decent quality if possible, and then I hold on to it long term. And so with that in mind, I just want to get into this real quick and try and go through it relatively quickly, just so anybody who's interested, especially if you're not a knife guy but is just looking for, what might be useful for you. This is just for combination of everyday type life and search and rescue and doing stuff out in the woods and whatever. I have different ones, but I'll get right into it. So first off, I've had this one for many years. This was one that I got as a kid. Typical buck 110. Don't need to say much about that. Anybody that is at all familiar with knives knows about the buck 110. Very common in the US, and it still works well. I rarely use it, but I think I got that from my dad when I was a teenager, and just kind of held on to it. It has its uses, and I always have it as a backup, like in one of my packs or something. First knife I ever bought for myself, because it was the tactical type one, is the old butterfly knife. Of course, I spent a lot of time fooling around with that as a teenager, and I was never into all the twirling it around trying to look dramatic. I just like to open and close it quickly. But naturally, right after I got it, I screwed up and laid my knuckle wide open, which I think most people do when they first get a butterfly knife. As it is now, it's really no use. I just hold on to it for nostalgia. Comes in handy for opening up envelopes or something, but that's about it. But still have it. This was one that I got from one of my kids. Honestly, I feel bad, but I don't remember. But yeah, just a little Sheffield folder, liner lock. Nothing special at all, but it has the glass breaker on it and the strap cutter and stuff, and so it makes a handy little backup knife. I carry this in one of my drop leg rigs that I have, so worst case scenario, I still have something for an emergency. Then for the real low end one, I got this mossy oak folder for a Father's Day gift from church. They were just handing them out to everybody that came in. It's actually surprisingly sharp, but very cheap. The liner lock doesn't work especially well or anything, but it's one I just carry in my bag that I haul to work and stuff, just for a backup knife there. And again, I've used it for opening up Amazon boxes and things like that. That's about it. It's nothing I would trust for anything heavy duty at all. But be that as it may, I hold on to it just for the occasional utility. Now this one technically is a knife. It's a rover tack, some cheap low quality steel. It's got a little bit of a serrated edge there, and again, liner lock. But the reason I got this is, remember how to, there we go, is it's actually a functional multi-tool. Got pliers there, and also has different screwdriver bits that fold out, so it's kind of like a Leatherman, or a, sort of a cross between a Leatherman and Swiss Army knife. It's in the folding knife form, but with the pliers. So I carry this in the drop leg platform that I use when I'm going out doing serious camping in the woods or on SAR missions and such, and just so that I have a multi-tool. Certainly not as good a quality as a Leatherman or anything, but for the limited amount of stuff that I need, I don't really need it as a knife too much, but it's nice to have that backup blade there too. But primarily, for the limited amount of things I need pliers or screwdrivers for, that'll do the trick. I don't need some ultra expensive Leatherman type one. Then, speaking of Swiss Army knives, got this little beauty. Just a very compact one. Has the basic knife. This one actually does have a locking mechanism, which is kind of nice, and it has a few things, different screwdrivers and file, and I believe it has the awl, but yeah, and the little scissors. So this is one I carry at work sometimes. I'll stick it in a bag when I go on trips, just as a backup, and yeah, sometimes use it at work when I'm working with cabling or things like that, where I might have to open up face plates or cut things and such. And then I also have another Swiss Army knife. This one I have set up a little bit more for outdoor use. This is one that I will put in my chest rig when I'm going out camping or on a SAR mission. Has a couple of special features. First of all, of course, it's got the basic knife like all Swiss Army knives do. This one doesn't actually have a locking mechanism, so I wouldn't trust it too much. But and it's got the smaller knife and the can opener and bottle opener and little screwdriver deals there. Not highly useful for that, but does have some utility. And then the corkscrew. I have this tinder stuff that's in the corkscrew. I don't know how well that shows up, but this orange part here just threads right into the corkscrew part, and I can take pieces of that, and it's highly flammable. And then along with that, in place of the toothpick, I still have the tweezer one here, but in place of the toothpick, I got this little guy, which I learned about from Survival Russia channel. This is a Firefly, and it's a very small but effective ferro rod. So just having that in there and the tinder there, I can actually use the spine of one of these blades here and that Firefly and strike sparks and use the tinder and get a fire going. It's not a great tool, certainly there's better purpose-built tools for making fires, but it's nice to have that for emergencies. So, if something happened to my lighter or my main ferro rod, it's good to know that I have a little backup there in my Swiss Army knife. And getting towards the end of it here, this is a cold steel pocket Bushman. This thing is as close to a fixed blade as you can get in a folder, because it's really a lightweight all metal handle, but once that blade is out and locked in place, the only way to release it is by pulling on this back part here. it locks up really solid. So you can baton with this and do all sorts of tasks like you would with the fixed blade. I've never had any concerns about it folding in on me. This one I carry in my chest and hydration bladder setup. I have a lightweight pack set up, which I'll show in another video, but I use that for like when I'm flanking for a dog team on a SAR mission and I expect to be moving very quickly and taking very minimal gear. I don't have much in the way of supplies there other than, you know, first aid kit, some basic fire starter stuff, and very rudimentary shelter kit. And I want a backup folding knife that's going to be just absolutely bomb proof. So I packed this one in there. It's lightweight but just tough as nails, and I know I can count on it if I need to. And then finally, the cold steel Fin Wolf. I took the thumb stud off of this one, so it's strictly a manual open, but I don't need to deploy it quickly. This is actually one of the, I started using this as my EDC knife. Just use the heck out of it at work and on carpentry projects and everything. It's got the cold steel triad locking mechanism, so it's really solid. It's got a stout blade with a Scandi grind on it, so it's actually like a miniature bushcraft, you know, folding bushcraft knife. Kind of like the blade profile is like a Puko fixed blade, except it's in a folder. It's got a really comfortable handle that I can fit my whole hand on, even though I have a pretty good size hand. And I find it's just great for doing any sort of woodworking and such. It does okay for opening boxes and things and everyday tasks at work and at home. But I love having that as a knife I can just have in my pocket and do any sort of bush crafting tasks and stuff with it. I have actually batoned with this knife, just small stuff, but no problems at all with breaking. You know, the steel's not great, so, you know, edge retention isn't the best. I have to sharpen it relatively frequently, but it's easy to sharpen. I can do it out in the field, and yeah, does a great job. The pocket clip has long since come loose, and I took it off, and like I said, I removed the thumb stud, so it's easier to sharpen in the field. But I like that one so much that I got another one. This one I still have the thumb stud on, of course, and the pocket clip. But this one's razor sharp right now, and I've been using it around the shop doing woodworking tasks and cleaning up cuts and corners and things. But yeah, I love these knives. Carry them just about all the time, either the red one or the blue one. And they're just barely over $30, so heck of a deal. I'll probably end up buying another one or two of them before they discontinue them at some point. But anyway, that's all of the folders that I currently have, and as you can see, I don't have any high-end stuff, no Benchmades or Spyderco or, you know, or really nice ones or anything, or you know, the only really recognizable brands I have are Cold Steel, Buck, and Victorinox. But they do all the jobs that I need, and you know, they're all budget knives, and so I'm very pleased with them. I'll go over my fixed blades in another one, but hope that was interesting or informative or useful for somebody. This has been Republic Jim. I'll talk to you later.